Thank you very much. Of course, I wanted to be there, but of course I could not because of some medical exigencies. I had undergone a surgery and therefore I could not travel. First of all, let me compliment the Indian Chemical News for organizing a systematic discussion meetings of this kind for the last few years. I participated in the earlier meetings. I of course shared platform with many of the colleagues who presented today. Let me endorse the views of Mr. Deepak Mishra, Joint Secretary, Ajay Sardana, Mr. Sahu, Mr. Kapila, and Dhananjay Sahu, and Mamcha Ancha on the points which have already been elaborated. I represent a university. I represent the university system. Probably in the panel, I am an odd man out, but it's very important to look at the teaching, training, and capacity building of the human resources which are necessary for global sustainability, maintenance of global sustainability in the petrochemical industry. So I will be, for the next 10-15 minutes, I will be concentrating on global sustainability standards in the petrochemical industry, addressing probably the top managers of the petrochemical industry, the regulators from the government in the petrochemical industry, and definitely the capacity building and training institutions in the country. So when we just look at some of these points, we need to really understand sustainability in the petrochemical industry. We have to probably, even the definitions are fastly changing. I was closely listening to the earlier speakers. They mentioned about the sustainability in different angles. So and we have to just look at the context of petrochemicals, environmental and social and economic considerations. There is no need of further emphasizing. These are the basic points of sustainability. The industry's role in establishing sustainable solutions, for example, renewable energy, advanced materials, specialty chemicals have been highlighted by earlier speakers. And despite its environmental footprint, we have to just find out, we have to just work with industries for enabling sustainable solutions in these areas, particularly in renewable energy and advanced materials. And then it is very necessary the entire stakeholders understand the international sustainability standards, overview of global standards and frameworks like ISO 14001, environmental management systems, global reporting initiatives. It's very, very, very important because there are a lot of confusions, a lot of conflicts which are happening when it comes to global dialogues and international dialogues in this area. So the global reporting initiative, how to contextualize it and how we can respond positively to the global reporting initiative, that is a point to be considered. So definitely UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, we are listening for the last several years, and there are of course relevant to petrochemicals. There are certain goals set, and it is very important to look at the country's perspective in this regard. Of course, when it comes to plastic use and all that, it was mentioned earlier that we are much below compared to any other country, any other developed country in the world, and therefore we have just look at this SDGs in that perspective when it comes to India, of course. And then we have to look at the carbon management and net zero goals. Maybe it is very necessary to understand the global articles. We have the industry's contribution. For example, we know major industries contributing in a significant way, but it's very important to make some sort of a real awareness about industry contribution to global carbon emissions. So adoption to carbon reduction strategies, everybody is doing it, but it is also very important that this has to be more. For example, I represent a university system. I have been in the teaching and research and administration in the university system. We have our university in Bombay. We are situated in Mumbai. we are supported by a big industry also, Godavari Biorefineries Limited, bioalcohols, biostock, petrochemicals, and all that. So, but when it comes to academic training, whether it be chemical engineering, whether it be the different chemistries at the graduate and postgraduate levels we are doing, or in the specialty chemicals area, maybe there are a lot of gaps between understanding of these things when it comes to training. Of course, after the training, after the education, they may get some orientation training and all that, but it's very important to look at these collaborations in a very significant way. So, circular economy in petrochemicals, we, of course, our management institute teach that. Our people from the industry, as professor of practice coming to the management institutes and talk about the circular economy. And when it maybe we have contextualized in the area of petrochemicals, because we understand this particular series of seminars which the Indian Chemical News is doing for the petrochemicals areas, and then we have to just promote the recycling and reuse of petrochemical products. The new chemistries need to be seen. Lot of things are happening in basic chemistry, experimental chemistry. Lot of things are happening. Maybe it has to come to the real practice when it comes to the petrochemical products. So we have just looked at advanced recycling technologies and bioplastics. So there was mention about bioplastics earlier also. And then agro-based and bio-based plastics and products, we have to look in a very significant way. And even in the biomedical area, maybe it may not be in tons, the quantities may be required, but the very important specialization and attention required in the biomedical polymers area, that is also one significant activity which we have to look into. Then energy efficiency and green manufacturing. This was also mentioned. For example, in our university, we have established a chemistry for green chemistry and sustainable industry, a chair for green chemistry and sustainable industry. Very eminent people from all over the world are coming and giving lectures and all that. But we have just project case studies of these things in a very significant way. Earlier, this point was mentioned. I don't want to go into details, but our clusters which are created in the Western Belt, in the petrochemical area, the academic institutions which are working in such areas, they have to have probably some sort of a from clusters to maybe extension of the cluster to the training institutions, teaching institutions is very necessary. So energy efficiency and in green manufacturing. So then when it comes to regulations and compliance, because that is also a point which was projected earlier, regional regulatory frameworks. For example, we are all aware about the European Union Green Deal and US EPA guidelines. Then importance of aligning with global standards to remain competitive and socially responsible. That is very, very important. We teach them, we train engineers, we train large number of people, we provide a diploma, postgraduate diploma, masters, MTech, and a lot of other degrees. But when it comes to the real understanding of all these things, there is a gap. Of course, I know that it is my responsibility, academics' responsibility to look into it. That is why, for example, even in the new education policy of the country, it is mentioned that our institutions in such technological areas, such management areas can have 40% of the people from industry coming and interacting and teaching with, of course, they call it professor of practice and all that. Of course, it's a good trend and good number of people. For example, my institution itself, I practice some 10, 15 people from the various chemical industries to orient the students about the sustainability in chemical industry, in petrochemical industry. So there is no depth of resources in this country. For example, when we look at the public and private sector establishments in the petrochemical industry, there is no depth of resources, and therefore it's very important for us to come to interact with the industry in a very significant way, and then try to And challenges in this area would be balancing economic growth with sustainability pressures, challenges in global standardization due to regional disparities. Even regional disparities exist even within our country in different regions. So we have to just look at why these regional disparities occur, how we can tackle the challenges in global standardization, because maybe resolving the regional disparities. So then there has to be a shift towards bio-based and renewable chemicals as sustainable alternatives. So these are some of the points which I wanted to just mention. And then of course I have also tried to put in place what should be the agenda for the government regulators in India. What should be the agenda for the top management of the petrochemical industries in India? I know this platform. This platform is top managers from the petrochemical industries in India, and Deepak Mishra used to regularly interact with us. So it is very important. We have to look at these three elements in a very significant way, and we have to do. We have to act. And then it is also very important that the teaching, capacity building, and research in Indian petrochemical industry has to be revamped in a significant way. Of course, we talk about industry-academia collaboration every way. This is some sort of a overspoken word, industry-academia collaboration. So it is not just collaboration or for a particular project. Probably we have to jointly develop programs, maybe short programs, long programs, jointly develop programs and jointly execute programs. This is possible now in the university system. Having experience in the university system for over 50 years, I know that there are university regulations were very, very tough and all that. Industry regulations were also not that easy. But if there is a need, there is possibility of putting our heads together and work on joint projects. So, of course, I know that the Centers of Excellence in Partnership Petrochemical Clusters in Jamnagar, Dahej, Paradeep, all these things are proposed, and it has to happen in a more effective and more circulated way. It has to happen. So then, of course, we have to facilitate internships and industrial training programs to provide hands-on experience with cutting-edge technologies. So most of the, of course, from the now the new technologies are also coming in a big way in the petrochemical industries. Then we have to develop specialized skill development programs. Of course, there are several agencies in this country looking at the skill development and higher education separately and combinedly also. And then, what are the skills necessary for the petrochemical industry? We have to just look at, for example, we talk about green hydrogen, we talk about CCU, we talk about advanced recycling, and therefore there has to be skill development. Maybe we have to plan the numbers accordingly, but there has to be focused activities in this regard. So I would suggest action points as sector-specific training under Skill India mission, of course, and the Petrochemical Skill Development Council. I do not know whether there is a Petrochemical Skill Development Council. I stand to correction if there is one. But of course, it is very necessary to have such a thing, and it is possible with the help of with the help of polytechnics, even ITIs, polytechnics, and the engineering colleges and the university system. Then we have to launch modular training for workers in areas like process optimization, IoT, AI in operations, and energy efficient practices. Of course, IoT, artificial intelligence, they are going to do lot of efficient procedures for operations and energy efficient practices. Then promote certification programs for professionals in green technologies to ensure upskilling and employability. This is, of course, if we just look at the green, if we look at the American Chemical Society or the British Royal Chemical Society, we can see that there are a large number of programs from 3 weeks to 1 year programs on very specific areas. definitely India has a large number of chemistry teaching institutions, IITs, and all that. There are ICERs, Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, and they are all definitely moving from the basic sciences to applied sciences, and the applied sciences need to be enhanced, probably more extended to this area, particularly the petrochemical industry. So, strengthen research and development ecosystems. This is very important. Of course, we depend on definitely the research and development in the foreign countries for many of our activities. But we have to enhance our competitiveness through innovation in processes, materials, and sustainability practice. What are the action points which we can think of in this line? Increase government and industry funding for R&D in renewable chemicals, bio-based materials, and advanced catalysts. Of course, big industries are developing advanced catalysts and all that. Of course, every day we hear about a new catalyst, and then we have to incentivize partnerships between companies and institutions like. Of course, there is an institute, Indian Institute of Petroleum is there, and then even in the basic institutions of science and technology, we have to have training in the area of petrochemical science and technology of petrochemicals in a very significant. And then we have to have innovation clusters in petrochemical hubs to accelerate technology commercialization and scale up. So these are some of the three areas which companies in petrochemicals when it comes to products and all that, and when it comes to training, capacity building, and teaching, the universities and all that. We have to create a synergy among these three sectors: government, the petrochemical industries, and the teaching and training institutions in the country to provide the right kind of human resources, which are equipped with the state-of-the-art knowledge in effective utilization of petrochemicals in a significant way, and that could be some of the maybe some agenda which we are thinking, and the institutions are coming forward, and therefore this type of dialogue which we are having now, this type of dialogue should happen, action points should emerge, and institutions should be ready to experiment and trust these suggested points in a significant way. Let me wish the program all success, and I am, from the representing the academic institution, I would be happy to. I am also basically a chemist, a polymer scientist, and I'm very glad that we would be able to just look at some of the possibilities and work in a very positive way for enhancing the effective utilization of petrochemicals in this country. Thank you very much for the support.